live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live.
And how many empaths? How many different types of empaths are there? Welcome, YouTube, and how are you all doing this evening? Welcome, everyone. We're going to talk about empaths, and are you an empath? Now, tonight is going to be an overview. There's actually much detail that is going to go on with all of the empaths. So let's just do the overview on could you be an empath? So for right now, there's a list of 8 types of empaths. And hi, everyone on YouTube. How is everyone doing? So glad to have you here. Hi, Satari Self-Care Institute. And there are 8 types of empaths. 8. All right, so we're going to go through them one by one. But they are animal, earth, planet, dream, intuitive, emotional, and physical. Then there's a higher empath, Heknoa, that we're going to go over next week, because that one is really expansive and probably the highest form, and probably the empath that's most understood even by the person who is that empath. And I really want to take my time with that one, so we'll do that one next week. Let me just see something here. I do want you guys to know that I am looking at a website right now. I believe it's under Gaia.com. Okay. Oh, when you think of empaths, you're probably thinking of those with a supercharged sense of empathy, sensitivity to the feelings, emotions of others. Empaths, so it says, goes a step beyond simply understanding these emotions. They actually feel as if it's happening to them. But what if we were told that there was a variety, which there is? What if you were told that you were one of those walking among us with the power to speak to animals? Now, I know that sounds crazy, but in the spiritual world, it's not. Just what if you could discern wisdom hidden in dreams? Well, you might How many types of empaths are there? Well, that's actually impossible to say. According to this article, there are 14 that were discovered. And so let's look at them. The emotional empath. All empaths display a degree of heightened sensitivity to other people's emotions. All empaths display hypersensitivity to other people's emotions. So all empaths have a degree of emotional sensitivity. But in the case of emotional empaths, this is either their strongest or only trait. Some might feel their powers of empathy are so strong that they're superpowers in their own right. Others might feel they're missing out on some of the other cool abilities attributed to other types of empaths. Telepathic empath sounds like me. Telepathic empath. They crank things up a notch. They can read other people's thoughts, not just their emotions. Telepathic empaths read minds. They read body language. And that implies a deeper level of insight or a different perspective. It's tough to say which one. Then there's the physical empath. And the physical empath, oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm going to do that. And the physical empath claims above normal sensitivity to the state of other people's bodies. They can sense if something's not right about your bodily health, right down to sharing other people's experiences of headaches and upset stomach. Like I had a reading tonight, and I never suffer from a piercing headache ever. And in the middle of the reading, I got this piercing headache. And I said, who suffers from bad headaches? And sure enough, she told me who was suffering from headaches. And I was like, oh my God, I'm feeling their pain. That's rare for me. That's rare. But sometimes I accept what goes on in a reading because what they're trying to tell me is that I'm on target, right? Sometimes the headache has nothing to do with the reading, except that spirit is saying, whatever you say from this point on, believe yourself, right? Because sometimes the readings can be challenging. And so when I get a validation early on, then that tells me, but Tracey, believe you, right? They can sense if something's not right about your bodily health, down to sharing other people's experiences of headaches and upset stomachs. Some also have a habit of mirroring others. They will mirror their physical habits, their little tics, their mannerism that often go unnoticed. Know how you always want to yawn when you see someone else yawning. That's how it feels for a physical empath, except stronger. Psychometric empaths. Psychometric empaths can read a person's connection to an object or a place. The love and loss you feel when you look at a photograph or a departed family member. The memory stored up when you hold a cherished heirloom. Those are the type of connections a psychometric empath picks up. Now, I want to talk about that for a minute. That's a gift I did not invite into my life, right? I did not invite holding pieces of object. The reason why I didn't invite that into my life is because I move a lot. And I had no desire to pick up on energy coming from the house, right? The only time ever in my whole life that I had a psychometric empath experience is when I brought a blanket here in the Caribbean made by Mayan women. And my intentions, ironically, listen to this, my intentions was to stick it up on a wall, which I did. You'll see this blanket on my wall, but it didn't want to stay up. So I figured Spirit was trying to tell me something. So I said, well, it's too much trouble to keep putting it up, and I'll just damage my landlord's um, walls, and I didn't have the desire to force it up. So I said to myself, never mind, I will use it as a blanket. The first time I used it, and I've used it ever since, it sits on my bed now, I can tell you that those women made that blanket in such peace and love. They were not frustrated. They were happy. They went about their daily business. There was no competition amongst the girls. The experience that I had when I wrapped the blanket around me that first night was the first time I had an experience with an object. Now, a lot of my clients will say to me, do you need the person's name? No. They'll say, do you need to see a picture? No. Because what's going to happen through that picture, I always knew this, is that if they show me a picture that they've been holding on to, and back in the day, you would hold on to a picture intimately in your wallet, in your purse. So you really kept the person close to you. I would feel their emotions. For me, that wouldn't be an authentic reading. When the purpose of my readings is to get you healthy again, not to invest in the emotions that you have of someone that's passed away. Some claim to pick up psychic impressions from inanimate objects themselves without the need for another person's presence in order to connect to the object. Again, opinion is split on whether this means their psychometric empathy is more powerful or whether they're simply employing their talents in a different way. And it could go both ways. Molecular empaths. Molecular empaths resonate with other people at what is said to be the deepest possible level. It's unclear whether this is at the same kind of molecular level we talk about when we discuss physics or not. Either way, molecular empaths often possess insights. Sorry, guys, just all over the place. Often possess insights into another person's truest nature, their essential self without all the layers of ego we build up over the years. Some of the advice they offer might even catch you off guard. Animal empaths. Animal empaths are extra good at reading the feelings of furry friends. I love a pet psychic. I love someone that has started to invest in that type of energy. My good friend Jason has begun to invest in becoming a animal pet psychic, and it was triggered by the death of his doggy Archie. We're not talking about a Dr. Dolittle situation here. Instead, animal empaths have a deep sense of animals' exposure, postures, expression, movements, and what they reflect about the animal's inner life. Animal empaths understand these as easily as speech. I'm highly jealous of animal empaths. That is probably the coolest gift ever. Now, I do have a form of animal empaths, but I also asked for it. So one day I was watching the version of Dr. Dolittle with Raven in it. And I looked at that movie and I said to God, while the movie was still playing, I would like that. And then I forgot I said that. And ever since, animals have been so drawn to me, and they keep, like the same animals keep showing up. They'll knock on my door. birds will stay very close by me. As of lately, St. Croix is full of butterflies, and these butterflies are constantly at my back window. It's like they hear my voice and they come to like listen to my voice. The cats here, one day I did the whole alchemist, and there's one of the stray cats here that stayed by my window and didn't move until it was over. So funny. Then there's plant empaths. Just like an animal empath, plant people can sense the well-being of various plants or pick up on the vibes of vegetation, given how differently plants and humans experience consciousness or the plant equivalent. This is a unique talent that plant empaths can find tough to put into words. One of my spiritual group mates will tell you all the time, like her plants talk to her. And when she says it, I think she's expecting us to go, what? And everybody's like, I believe you, right? Because that's her empathic nature that's coming through for the plants. Plant empaths could be laying solid groundwork for developing their own human well-being. Earth or geomatic empath. This type of empath is deeply sensitive to changes in the earth itself, right? Now, for me personally, that comes and goes, but I'm more sensitive when events have already happened. Some claim to be able to feel the pain of earthquakes and forest fires and maybe even predict them before they happen. The process by which the Earth's consciousness gets translated into the human emotional spectrum is unclear. The only thing I can tell you about the Earth being affected, there were 2 times that I had a problem figuring something out. It was 2 o'clock. I think it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I can't remember now. I think it was 2 o'clock in the morning, California time, I believe, when the Japan earthquake hit. Now, the visual of that earthquake was mortifying enough. What happened afterwards is what kept bothering me. So it wasn't enough that it was a 9.0 plus earthquake. That was bad enough. And the visual, oh my God, horrifically bad. What I didn't know at the time, because it just wouldn't leave me, was that that particular earthquake shifted the Earth's axis, which then led to the extreme climate changes we are going through right now. The other time, an impact that affected the Earth worldwide was the World Trade Center. Again, it was after it happened. And it was weeks later, and this feeling of doom and gloom kept coming over me. And I couldn't understand it. Like for me, when the impact happened, it happened. To me, it's over. So why was I still feeling things? I called my sister and I said, Terry, something's wrong. Why am I still like feeling that people are mourning, like they're sad? And it's separate and apart from the event. The event was horrifying. I wasn't feeling the event anymore because it already happened. There was something else going on. You know what my sister told me? There are trains that are under the World Trade Center. When the World Trade Center went down, there were people stuck in the subways. They never got them out. Once I got that answer, then it washed away from me. I was feeling the mourning of all those people that were trapped and still alive. Indigo empaths, not to be confused with indigo children who are totally separate thing. Indigo empaths are sensitive to issues of morality and virtue. If someone is acting in bad faith, an indigo empath is likely to spot it. They instinctively feel drawn to those who act with a sense of righteous, moral purpose, caring whether someone is good more than whether they're nice. It's a big difference. And I've had that. I've had people say, well, you know, they did a bad thing, but they're so nice. It's like, no, they did a bad thing. Let's stay focused. Well, you know, he's a good husband. You know, his only problem is that he cheats. That doesn't make him a good husband. I get that a lot. Like, no. Oh my God. Let me stop for a minute and let me see what everybody is saying. Hello. Hi, Lisa. Hi, LaShonda. Oh my God, that's me. Oh, I missed which one was you. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was too busy looking down. Clear cognizant or intuitive empath. Intuitive empath sense the fact of a situation via seemingly supernatural leaps of logic. More than picking up on thoughts and feelings, they're able to discern information seemingly through thin air. You know those people who visit a house for the first time and instinctively know the right kitchen drawer to look in? That's an intuitive empath. This isn't a million light years away. We aren't a million light years away from Luke Skywalker. Hold on, guys. Oh my goodness. I'm reading up to 14 different types of empaths. Up to 14. There's quite a number. Oh, I also want to tell you that you could overlap at times, right? You could be a highly emotional empath, and then there could be another aspect that you could get in the moment. It doesn't mean that it's you. It means that the sensitivity in the moment might bring out another form of empathy. Hi, Ori. Good night. Hello. All right. Let me continue on. Precognitive empath. Predictive or precognitive empaths are sensitive to a situation's potential. Hold on, guys. Sorry, everyone. Predictive or precognitive empaths are sensitive to a situation's potential. Whether they're actually predicting the future with some psychic gift or spotting patterns and logically picking the most likely outcome, the result is the same. They know what's going to happen. They don't say they didn't warn you. It says here, Don't say they didn't warn you. Now, I feel like I am a precognitive empath. I had a client today that, you know, she got an extreme card and my heart broke for her. And she's like, how do I stop this? And it was one of those situations where I'm like, you can't stop it because it already occurred, right? And and then, not to scare her, but the event had already occurred, so you can't stop it. And you guys don't know what I'm talking about. And I said, but she got the sun card in the deck. And I said, okay, the sun card gives me hope for you, right? So I said, the way I see it is that you might have to, hold on, you might have to take extreme precautions. Take extreme precautions, and then maybe the impact of the tower, which has already happened, won't be so extreme. All right. I should have measured where the tower showed up. I think the tower showed up in a number 3 position. So that would make it the situation that she's standing on right now. So that sounds about reasonable. It sounds about reasonable the way I described it for her. Psychic empath. Now, I freaking love mediums. Not my 100% gift. I just learned to develop mediumship. And the only reason why I learned to develop mediumship is because I was being convinced that this is something I naturally had. I just didn't practice it. So, because I believed that I naturally had it, then I practiced it, then I was absolutely capable of bringing spirits in to a reading. And I love that aspect because it reminded me, and this is also the thing that helps me to help others, is that discipline is the key to any spiritual growth. Discipline. If you're going to be an empath, you can't let that energy that you have run amok. It then becomes based in ego. And we cannot afford to have ego be stronger than your empathic work and gift that you were given. But some people don't know the difference and take the energy of their empathic side and swallow up other people's energy. What you're doing when you're doing that is not only taking on their energy, but you're also taking on their attention. What you want to do is let people have their own spiritual energy, whatever they're going through. You can recognize that someone is going through something. You do not authorize yourself to feel what they're going through. If you are the type of empath that takes it on anyway, like I did tonight, I took on a headache that didn't belong to me. I mentioned it and I didn't give it back, but I wouldn't allow it to stay in me. So I used it differently. I was like, who has headaches? I was told who has headaches. They explained to me how this is a thing. And once I understood it, then I wouldn't keep it because I had to finish my job. If I kept the headache, I would become debilitated. So we spiritualists have to realize that taking on somebody's pain, feeling it is one thing, but taking it on to feel it extra hard, that no longer becomes the gift. That's the wish and the want. And if you're feeling someone's energy that hard, then you are depleting your soul of the very gift that God gave you, because then it becomes unbeknownst to you, it becomes abusive. So you're going to have to learn to, sometimes you just have to say it. Oh, I felt that. I could feel it. That's a lot that the person is going through. Maybe I can figure out some ways for them to heal whatever it is that you're feeling, right? So solution, problem solving and solution is one way for nobody to hold on to energetic pain, including you. So if you give advice to someone like, well, I think if the person learns to lay down on the ground and breathe in and out, then that is something that you need to do too, until you truly understand how not to own the energy or the pain or the experience, especially if it's painful, of others. Oh, that's a good one, Sylvester. That's a good one. How do you get rid of others' pain that you've been holding on to for years? Okay, that's a memory imprint, right? That's not just being an empath. That's it's almost like, because especially if we're talking about trauma, right? There's always things that are traumatic that we hold on to, right? Like, for instance, I never forgot the teacher that changed my whole life. And I always remember thinking I was stronger back then. But I was in the 5th grade. How was I going to be stronger, right? But he changed my whole trajectory. And I let him. But at 6, you can't change that. But it's the memory of him that has stayed with me that I believe to this day has crippled me. His name was Mr. Senabrini, and he was a horrible, horrible man, and he didn't like me. And he was so glad to spit out my name, Tracy, right? And I was like, well, damn, like all the time? And then back in the day, we had a numerical class system. So there were the AP students, then there were the 5.0, 5.1, 5.2 were the smartest kids. 5.3 and 5.4 were mediocre kids, pretty bright, not exceptional, but not a bad class to be in. And then there was the terrible kids, which were the number 6, 4.6, 5.6, 6.6. And so it was a class system back then. So at the end of the year, you were asked, what class are you going into? And I was the only one going into 6.6 because of a fucked up, mentally crazy teacher. Probably, now that I'm thinking about it, probably hella racist too. I don't even know. Probably he could have had a reason to be mad at me because in my youth, I would say things that I didn't know were profound and probably problematic for the teacher. But I don't remember hurting his feelings. But now that I look back on it, it's possible. And maybe one time too many, he was like, I'm putting her in 6.6. She thinks she's that smart. Let me put her in 6.6. So I say that to say, because it might be a choice to hold on to others' pain. And so what you might want to do is to say out loud, right? This is no longer my pain. I've held on to it for you, but I have to let it go now. And then you write the letter, releasing through words, releasing through letters. But imagine, Sylvester, if you had to write a letter to the persons whose pain you're holding on to. The pain is probably guilt-based. So you have to give yourself permission not to hold on to guilt anymore, to be free of it, not to hold on to anyone else's pain, except to understand, I realize now what you went through was so painful, but I'm going to release it from me because I want to give myself a second chance at life and living. And I want to do that illness-free, right? Did that help, Sylvester? And we were talking to Lamar in the group session this past Wednesday. And one of the things that he said was that he felt like this was another releasing moon. So this might be the perfect time to write that letter, forgiving yourself first, because you're the molecular cell body temple that we need to save. So you can start out with, I forgive myself. And then start out with the memory of the pain that you're holding on to. And tell that person's pain, I understand now. I didn't understand at the time, but I understand it. And I understand it to the point where I nurtured it. I am no longer capable of nurturing this pain because admit what it's done to you. Has it crippled you? Has it stifled you? Like, say all the things that's happening. And then whose ever pain you might be holding on to, it could be guilt-based. So add, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I didn't get it until that moment, but I've been holding on to it because I don't want to forget you, maybe, right? But you're not going to forget anyone. But you can't hold on to such extreme pain anymore. And right, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for my happiness. I'm doing it to complete an aspect of my life that I can no longer hold on to. And if there's any part of it that you were ashamed of or you feel, write it all down. But in the end, release it. Now, I like to release it to God, to Jesus. I like to release it to something, right? But if you write the letter, then read it out loud, then burn it. We're not going to hold on to a letter that constantly reminds us what it is that we did wrong in life. No. It's okay to grow. And I bet whose ever pain you're holding on to, I bet they're standing next to you going, oh my God, just release it, sweetie. Let it go. So give yourself permission to let it go. All right. A medium, a psychic empath, possess an intuitive understanding of the afterlife. They can pick up extrasensory vibes in the spirit world and use them to reach conclusions about real life problems. The exact method they use will depend on the individual empath's belief system. You're unlikely to meet many atheist psychic empaths. They just don't go together. Dream empaths, these are my favorite. Dream empaths are particularly skilled at remembering and interpreting dreams. The symbolism of what our brains throw at us while we sleep is as plain to the type of empath as the alphabet. The biblical story of Joseph is likely a tale about a dream empath. Modern day incarnations can help us unlock the same kind of intuitive wisdom. Now, I personally can interpret dreams. I rarely remember my own dreams, but I can certainly interpret your dreams, and they're so much fun to interpret. Hey, Heyoka empath. Heyoka means sacred clown or spiritual fool in the Lakota and Dakota Native American dialects. Heyoka empaths are said to be the rarest and most powerful variety, acting as a spiritual mirror to those around them to assist their growth. The Heyoka's unorthodox approach to life makes others question their own preconceived notions of what's right and wrong, real and fantasy. That guy posting provocative stuff on social media to get you riled up might actually be a form of an Heyoka empath doing you a favor. Now, the Heyoka empath, we're going to go over that next week because nothing in this article really explained how deep Heyoka empaths can get and can be. And you're going to be really surprised how powerful this type of empath can be. And we'll go over that next week in full detail. My problem is, says Q Washington, it's so stressful to me, to feel other people's emotions. I work at a grocery store and I constantly have to tell myself, those are not my emotions. Stay away from everyone because I can't. I don't know how you ended the last one. I mean, Q Washington, I used to take the subway all the time, right? And in taking the subway, I would sit in the subway and I would study people. That's the way I looked at it. So, of course, I was reading their minds. Of course, I was absorbing their energy. But I did it for power, not to take on their emotions. So it made me practice my gift as opposed to knowing people's emotion and then not knowing what to do with it, sweetie. So no one's going to stop you from doing that part that is your job. You came to read emotions. What I said in the beginning that you might have missed is your ego holds on to it. And so then you get it, and it might be an attention getter as opposed to being an empath and then using it to heal. So I would say to everyone that is an emotional empath but keeps it in their body, your task now is learning the different modalities to release all that energy. And for you guys, because it's emotion, it's instant. So if it comes to you instant, you got to release it equally as instantly, right? So this morning we were talking about re-energize, and I was showing some hand motions that could protect you from letting people's emotions getting into your sacral and I forget sacral, something else, and chakras, right? But holding a black protective stone, right, around your neck, and people don't have to see it. It could be inside, and letting it drop just below, at the top of your stomach, just below your breast, right? Because that's where we feel a lot of these energies, where they come in, and let that stone absorb the energy and have that be a sacred stone, you know? Right. The other thing is setting emotional boundaries. One of my YouTube friends likes to send me material that is too much for me. So I just say, I was like, I don't look at stuff that are traumatic. So right away, I'm being verbal, I'm setting the stage. And if they make the mistake again, I'm just being verbal, I'm setting the stage. But I really would not look at materials that would be traumatic for me, particularly because I will hold on to it. And for me, that's the only time I dream. So if something traumatic I'm watching on TV just before I go to bed, all night, those are my dreams, which aren't real dreams. It's the trauma of what I'm watching. So I'd rather watch something like two women fighting on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Like that is soothing to me. Go figure. Hi, Thomasina. So also when we're having conversations with people, right? Some people like, oh man, I haven't input either one back. Some people like to dump on you, right? And you have to remove yourself from that type of energy. Oh, I'd love to stay and talk, but I can't. Nowadays, people will traumatize you, and this is the saddest form, in a text message. And that's the saddest form because for me, it's a coward move, one, and two, it's hard to turn that off once the text is sent. So unfortunately, when you have people that send volatile text messages, you should block them because you have to save yourself because they're just dumping on you and you have to be respected. So if people aren't going to respect you, block them. And that could be family members, boyfriends, exes, current relationships. You do not put up with a verbal assault through text message because it's so easy to do. All right. So I'm going to end this for now, but I might be doing this for the next 2 weeks. And next week, we're going to talk in detail about the Heyoka empath and the earth empath. All right, guys, do you have any questions? And by the way, I labeled 14 different types of empaths. Oh, you know what they did leave out, though, unfortunately, because I think there's no history on this? There are alien empaths. Those are the ones that are fascinated with aliens. So that one was left out, but it should be there. Did I really help you? Oh my God, thank you, Christy. That makes me so happy. Aw, any questions out there, guys? All right. So don't forget, if you're watching this video right now or watching it later, go ahead and press that like button and subscribe to me. My subscribership is growing. So happy. And if you want a psychic reading with me, just text me 213-458-7408. And the readings are done, of course, by regular phone, but they are done on Zoom or FaceTime mostly now. All right. Also, tomorrow I have my book club, and we're reading The Alchemist, and we're nearing the end. We might even finish it tomorrow if we can. So good, The Alchemist. And to top this off, let me see something. We have, I never know I could expand it that way. We have our own Ori Naturals that is doing a herbal defense cold and flu season a workshop. Let me just move this out the way, get over here. Okay, workshop. So it's scheduled for Sunday, November 20th at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's facilitated by Priestess Iyalo de Ifasheye. and learn about easily accessible. Why does this keep happening? Easy. Oh, that's because it's the video. Okay. Easily accessible herbal allies you can use to support, protect, and maintain respiratory health during the cold and flu season and throughout the year. All right. Register at www.orinaturals.com. And I will be in class as well, orinaturals.com. So come learn about what over-the-counter medicines, or I'm sure you can have anything shipped through Amazon at this stage of the game. All right, let me just see what everybody else is saying. You really helped me. Thank you, Christy. This was so helpful. Thank you, Miss Metnet. Thank you. You're welcome, Celestial Sleuth. Thank you, Tracy. Love you. Have a great night. You too, sweetie. Sweet Carmel Smile. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We will pick this back up this time next Friday at 9 p.m. Be there or be square. And text me if your own personal reading, 213-458-7408. Thanks, everyone. Take it easy. Bye.
Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live.